Good evening, BookTube. Hope you're all doing well. I myself just got home from work. I'm freezing cold, but I've got a nice cup of hot tea to warm me up. In the meantime, since I'll be indoors, got to catch up on another tag. Okay. This tag is called La Bella Italia Tag. As you can see in my little thumbnail, I used Google Gemini to make a little photo of a couple on a Vespa in Rome. This tag was created by two people, actually. One person who I've been subscribed to for quite a while now, Emily of the Linguist Library, and her partner, Daniela, the Uncommon Reader. Both are wonderful. I couldn't recommend their channels anymore. As you may see in the corner of your screen, I got my little stack of books here, my different answers for these prompts. Let's get started. Let's see here. Let's see how there's 1, 2, 3. There are 11 prompts. Well, 10. One's a bonus. And of course, we end all these tag videos by tagging others. So let's get started here. All roads lead to Rome. And it's like each prompt and asks you for like pretty much just select a book from each genre. I should have mentioned this before. Also, each prompt is themed by a different town or city in Italy. So let's start over again. All right. Number 1. All roads lead to Rome. This being history or historical novels. For this one, I have 2 audiobooks. And both are going to be a project because each audiobook in runtime is like 2 days. So I got like 4 days of listening ahead of me. It's first one's a Grant by Ron Chernow, and then Truman by David McCullough. Both great historians. Sadly, David McCullough passed away not too long ago, maybe a couple of years ago. And Ron Chernow, he wrote the biography Hamilton, which was inspired the musical. And he's written each guy has written so many great so biographies or just historical novels. So yeah, so I got those 2 to look forward to, Grant and Truman. I'm gonna get started on those sooner or later. Okay. Now number 2, Wherefore Art Thou, Verona? You know, Verona's where Romeo and Juliet was set. Okay, in this one you need to pick romance books or literary fiction, and in particular, ill-fated lovers. I'm trying to think of a good one because I don't really read too many romance books. As far as ill-fated lovers, that one popped to mind. It's one of the few ones I read. The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. You know, after a while, it was a big hit as a book. The movie was a big hit too. So I think somewhere down the line, years ago, I finally gave in, read the book to see what the fuss was all about, and I was impressed. I never read John Green before that. I've read a couple of his books since then. I think I read Turtles All the Way Down and Paper Towns. Always a fun time. Of course, Ill-Fated Lovers. Think about like these 2 young teenagers who have their medical conditions. Well, it was hard. It was like happy tears and tear jerking at the same time. All right, Florence. This is prompt number 3. Florence. Brushstrokes and Botticelli. Books about art and music or artists. Okay, I got plenty of those. That's the top 2 right here. I'm going to show you 2 because they go hand in hand together. All right, so we have the memoirs, autobiographies of Born to Run by Bruce Springsteen and his guitar player, Steve Van Zandt, or Little Stevie simply, and his memoir autobiography, Unrequited Infatuations. It's a wordy title. Essentially, he got the title because like he gives all this sage advice to people for free, and he should have charged them over the years. Like he jokes around with that in the book too. So these very personal connection for me because first of all, Bruce Springsteen, he's from the town of Freehold. I grew born and raised like one town over, so I spent my whole life in Freehold. And cool thing, a couple weeks ago, a film crew and Bruce himself were in town. They were making that movie with Jerry Allen White. And so they were in town for Freehold recently, and a lot of people were taking photos with them. So that was pretty cool. And so yeah, born and raised, like literally same exact spot as Springsteen. Then you go a little bit up north, that's where Steve Van Zandt was raised. And also like my whole area in New Jersey too, like it's such a hotbed for rock and roll, like music history in general. Like it goes to show you really are shaped by your environment. Really, it's amazing how much the environment has a hold on you. And so us 3 here, we're all born and raised in the same parts, same influences around us. So I connected with these guys so much. Especially here, specific locations Bruce mentions in the book. Like like it took me by surprise. Like he mentions a specific church. I think like I've been in that church. I know the couple live across the street from there. And then like a little specific joint, like a Jersey Freeze. It's like a famous like burger joint, ice cream place. They're really well known for the soft serve ice cream. And Stevie, he mentions a music store called Jack's Music in Red Bank. My favorite place in the world. It's my little sanctuary. I can go on and on about these two, but I'll leave it at that. So, both very personal connections to me. There we go. So Bruce Springsteen and Little Stevie. There we go. So I was gonna say about Little Stevie. Oh yeah. If he looks familiar to you, you may have, even if you're not familiar with Bruce's music, you may recognize Little Stevie's face from the show The Sopranos. Like he was a character on there. I haven't really seen the show myself, but I know obviously one of the biggest shows ever, so chances are that's where you know this face from. And the stories he has in this book are hysterical. All right, number 4, Sicily. My grandmother was 100% Sicilian. So Sicily, Myths of Mount Etna. It has to do with mythology, fantasy, sci-fi books. So for this one, I really don't read a whole lot of any of those genres. But I did pick this one. I bought it a while back. I'm going to read it for sure. It's a little history of my ancestors, a little mythology. You got the Aeneid. Got like the soldier Aeneas. He flees Troy, which is destroyed by the Greeks, and he goes on his journey. And he goes on to be the founder of Italy, of the Roman Empire. It's like the mythical origins of my people. So naturally I got to stick with this for personal reasons too. The Aeneid. This particular version I picked up because we had a couple different translations, so I heard this one here. Also a little review on the front, a little blurb by Tom Holland. I know Tom Holland, he's a co-host of my favorite podcast, The Rest is History. So I'm like, oh, there you go. If he approves of it, then then this is the printing that I was going to give a try. There you go. The Aeneid. Looking forward to reading that one, or I should say rereading it. Last time I read it was like in high school. Okay. Whoops. Don't worry. I went to the Brian Lee Durfee School of Editing, so you won't hear that drop. You won't see any of this. Okay. There we go. Number 5, the Bolognese Chronicles. Food-themed books. This stumped me because getting food-themed, I got nothing. The closest thing I got for you is one of my favorite series, which I plan on finishing this year. And even though it's food, it's drinks, really, but I'm counting it. It's like Before the Coffee Gets Cold. I mentioned this book a lot, and this is all I got for you as far as food theme is concerned. Like a little mystical cafe. Like you sit in a chair in this cafe, you can go back in time, but you have to come back. Or rather, you have to finish your coffee before it gets cold, or you're screwed. You're stuck. Alrighty. Love that story. Alrighty. Where do we leave off here? Number 6, From Sardinia with Love. Thriller / adventure / spy / heist books. Okay. This is probably one of my favorite books of all time. It's actually a 3rd book in a series, but it's a complete standalone. And that is this book by Jean Le Carré, The Spy Who Came In From the Cold. You see that cover? I love the cover. You like the bicycle. See like the bloody feet up top. Looks like someone's crawling away. Like I said, 3rd book in the George Smiley series. But like I said, George Smiley, even though it's the central character, he appears in one scene. Like his name's only mentioned one other time, so this is complete standalone. And there was an incredible movie made out of this in the early 60s too. It starred like Richard Burton, who was a very big deal. So yeah, this one, like, you know, for me personally, I was looking for a different spy novel other than like the shoot 'em up action adventure stuff. And good lord, this is, it's called elevated spy novels. I'm not sure what you would call it. Very well written. So like you got to use your brain to get out of situations and play the game at sometimes to get free. Absolutely loved it. Couldn't recommend it. Like I said, standalone. So go ahead and pick this up. Alrighty, where are we now? Number 7, Venice. In a Gondola with Casanova. Forbidden Love Affair books. Okay. I read one. How do you go? I'm kind of stretching this here because I don't know if you go so far to call this forbidden, but there was an audio book because it was narrated by Michael C. Hall, the guy who played Dexter, who went on to narrate Pet Sematary. And that guy was born to do audiobooks. It was a book called Breakfast at Tiffany's. It's a big famous novel. So the reason I listened to this was solely because of Michael C. Hall. And he knocked it out of the park once again. Like, could be a stretch calling it a forbidden love affair, but you have like the main character, he's pursuing this woman, but like she's she's hard to get. Like, but he's he's kind of like in love with her, but he's like trying his best. Like, she's not really into him, and kind of learned a couple things about her along the way later on. So yeah, could be a bit of a stretch, but I'm gonna go with that one. All right, number 8. Naples Never Sleeps. Mystery/horror/gothic books. Okay, I'm going to go with mystery for this one because it's my favorite genre. Start off, see, I'll give you 3 answers actually because it is my favorite. Start off with not only that, there are 3 series, 3 favorite characters of mine. We have the Joe Pickett series. This is book 1, open season. I love that character. He's a game warden in Wyoming. We follow him and his wife and children on the front, out in the open plains. It's like game warden. You're part you kind of work with the environmental forces, and plus like you're kind of a law enforcement on top of that. So, and you're all alone. It's just you, your dog, and your truck. You're on your own with whatever beast or animal comes your way. Makes for a pretty interesting read. And also we got a book that coincidentally takes place in Wyoming as well. This is the Walt Longmire series. This is book 1 called The Cold Dish. Walt Longmire is a sheriff. I love that guy. For each series rather, I've only read like the first 3 books. And each one has like 20 books in the series that come out once a year. I definitely plan on reading all of those. And there's another series which I want to start reading. I never read a book before in the series, but they made 9 TV movies. 9 different movies about this character in the series. Because to tell you, it's pretty popular. And it was the character is Jesse Stone. Jesse Stone was like a police officer in L.A. He was like a captain, I believe. It's got like, city life. He was divorced, depressed. He was kind of unraveling. So he transfers to a small town in Massachusetts, in Paradise, Massachusetts. Just him and like 2 deputies with him. And this series is a long-running series of books. I mean, the author, Parker, like he passed away a while ago, but like different authors are continuing the series. And the sole reason I wanted to read the series because I love the movie so much. And the movies starred my main man, whose memoir I read a year ago when it came out. That is Tom Selleck. Tom Selleck, Jesse Stone, ladies and gentlemen. Star of 9 movies. Funny thing too, if you go back and watch those original Jesse Stone movies, Jesse Stone's deputy, a future EGOT winner, Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and Tony, Viola Davis. Go check that out. You see her early on in her career. I remember at one point in the movies, like she had become a massive star, so they had to write her off because I think they said, oh, she got married, had a baby, retired from the force. So that's how they wrote her off, because she moved on to much bigger, better things, to say the least. Alrighty. Let's see. Number 9. Tales of Torino. La Magica. Ghosts and legend stories. Novellas, short stories, plays, and folklore. Okay. It's way too easy to go with Stephen King as far as ghosts are concerned, and novellas too, so I didn't want to go there. So I picked one this past September. I did participate in Shakestember. We read Shakespeare. So as soon as when you mention ghosts and Shakespeare, the first thing I think of is Hamlet. The book opens up with a ghost. You see like this ghost in armor comes to visit Hamlet. You find out it's Hamlet's father. The father's spirits come back to tell Hamlet that he's been murdered. Like his death wasn't accidental, it was a murder. He wants Hamlet to avenge his father's death. And is Hamlet up to the challenge, up to the task? Pretty good read. Definitely. It's been around all these centuries for a reason. There we go. Alrighty. That was number 9, so now we're up to number 10. Musings in Milan. And this one is like, it's up to you to pick it. Any genre. Pick books of any genre. So many choices too, but I'm going to stick with 2 biographies. One biography / motivation. It's actually what I'm currently reading now. This is going to be a little teaser into what I'm reading in the upcoming weeks. Just give me a second, I'll grab them for you. Alright, so you got an autobiography, memoir. One book's kind of mostly inspirational too. It's like 2 of my favorite people, 2 celebrities that I've always admired. Even as I got older, I really grew to respect them like even more as I learn more about them, as I listen to them. So well, I'll just tell you what they are, but I'll save their any reviews and comments for a future video. But we got Lenny Kravitz, Let Love Rule, and Arnold Schwarzenegger, Be Useful. There we go. What's it called? Be Useful, 7 Tools for Life. There we go. 2 very different people, but equally inspirational to me throughout my life. So I'll stick with these 2, and let's see. I'm going to group these 2 together for a future video as soon as I'm done. I've already read Lenny Kravitz. Now, as soon as I'm done with Arnold, I will get back to you. And the 11th and final prompt, a bonus. Postcards from Italy. A book set in Italy. I gotta tell you, I almost hit the stand here. I tried my hardest to pick out a book set in Italy. I've read nothing. I'm surprised as far as fictional books. I've read a single fictional book set in Italy. I've plenty history over the years, but nothing fictional. So, unfortunately, I can't give you an answer for this, but it's now I need to find an answer. So down the line, I'm going to find some books set in Italy and review them on this channel for you. And with that being said, well, thank you for watching. Meantime, if you heard any music in the background, it's because I got the channel Lithium playing over on Sirius Satellite Radio. It's like a 90s alternative and grunge music. Here we go. Got my little tablet there hooked up to my little Bluetooth speaker. There we go. That's how I spend my evenings. Alright. So of course, now it's time to tag people. There's only one channel I knew I was going to tag from the beginning, like my fellow paisans here on the East Coast. We got Joe and Mary of Book Buds. So they're the only ones I knew for sure who I'm going to tag. And I'm going to find a few other channels, so preferably people who I have not tagged before, people who I think would enjoy this very much. And as always, just because you're tagged doesn't mean you're obligated to participate. We tag people just to bring attention to those channels. Alrighty. Well, take care, everyone. Stay warm. Good luck if we're supposed to get snow overnight here. So drive safely, everybody. Take care and have a good one.